Adolf Hitler, dictator, ruler, and killer, but he was not always a horrible man. He was once a innocent young boy. On April 20th, 1889, Adolf Hitler was born in Austria. In 1895, Adolf enters primary school while his father retires from the civil service after 40 years. This meant a much harsher way of living for Adolf. In 1900, Adolf's younger brother Edmund dies. Afterwards, Adolf's father makes him attend a technical school instead of pursuing and being an artist. Adolf did poorly in the technical school and was very unhappy. During this time at school, he became very interested in German nationalism. In 1903, Adolf's father dies. This meant Adolf would be free to pursue his dream in becoming an artist. In 1904, Hitler quits the technical school and goes to high school 25 miles from Linz. During this time in school, he does bad when he has little motivation to do well in school. In 1906, being 17, Hitler applies for the Vienna Academy of Arts and was rejected. But being 18, Adolf's dear mother gets cancer, is treated by a Jewish doctor, but still dies. Now he is 18 and alone. He was then alone and broke in the city of Vienna, sleeping in bars and homeless shelters. In 1908, Hitler tried again at the entrance, but was rejected. In 1909, Hitler was poor and freezing, living in a homeless shelter. In 1910, he stayed in a house for homeless men for the next couple years. He made a meager wage selling paintings of famous landmarks in Vienna. He sold his paintings to Jewish shop owners. Being poor and hungry really influenced Hitler. He adopted a harsh, survivalist mentality, which left little room for kindness and compassion. In 1913, Hitler left Vienna at age 24. To avoid mandatory military service in the Austrian army, he moved to the German fatherland and settled in Munich, but was tracked down by the Austrian authorities in January 1914. On August 1st, 1914, a huge crowd gathered in a plaza in Munich. The occasion? To celebrate the German proclamation of war. 2 days later, Hitler volunteered to the German army, enlisting in the Bavarian regiment. During his years in World War I, Hitler was placed in many life-threatening situations, but always seemed to luck out. This all seemed to end when he was wounded in the leg by a shell fragment during the Battle of the Somme. He was hospitalized in Germany. He blamed the Jews for much of the anti-war sentiment among German civilians and saw them as conspiring to spread unrest and undermine the German war effort. The idea of anti-war conspiracy involving Jews would become an obsession to add to other anti-Semitic notions he acquired in Vienna, leading to an ever-growing hatred of Jews. In 1918, he was temporarily blinded by a British chlorine gas attack near Ypres. He was sent home to a starving, war-weary country full of unrest. He laid in a hospital bed, consumed with the dread and a swirl of rumors impending disaster. On November 10, 1918, an elderly pastor came into the hospital and announced the war news. The war was over. Hitler described his reaction in Mein Kampf. There followed the terrible days and even worse nights. I knew all was lost. In these nights, hatred grew in me. Hatred for those responsible for this deed. 1919, after the war, his next assignment was ordered to investigate a small group in Munich known as the German Workers' Party. Dressed in civilian clothes, Hitler went to a meeting of the German Workers' Party in the back room of a Munich beer hall with about 25 people. He listened to a speech on economics by Gottfried Fieder. After the speech, Hitler began to leave when a man rose up and spoke in favor of the German state of Bavaria breaking away from Germany and forming a new South German nation with Austria. This enraged Hitler, and he spoke out forcefully against the man for the next 15 minutes uninterrupted, to the astonishment of everyone. After Hitler's outburst, Drexler, the leader of the German Workers' Party, hurried over to Hitler and gave him a 45-page pamphlet entitled My Political Awakening. He urged Hitler to read it and also invited Hitler to come back. After reading the pamphlet, Hitler received an unexpected postcard saying he had been accepted as a member into the party. He really did not know what to do, even though he was asked to attend the executive committee meeting, which he did. At that meeting, he was joyfully welcomed as a new member, although he was actually very undecided on whether to join. Although unimpressed by the present condition of the German Workers' Party, Hitler was drawn to the sentiment expressed by Drexler that this would somehow become a movement, not just a political party. And in this disorganized party, Hitler saw opportunity. He spent 2 days thinking it over and then decided. Stating in Mein Kampf, I finally came to the conviction that I had to take this step. It was the most decisive resolve of my life. From here, there was and could be no turning back. Once Hitler entered the German Worker Party, he wanted to make a difference in the committee and make it succeed. He and 6 other members started sending invitations hoping people would come. Few people came. They all kept trying, but little came. Soon, they moved to a new hall and placed the advertisement in an anti-Semitic newspaper, and room filled up. It was wonderful. When Hitler stepped on stage and he spoke and everyone cheered, his speech moved the people. They kept doing theirs, and soon, German Worker Party consisted of 3,000 members, but for a shorter name, they called it the Nazi Party. After being released from prison, Adolf Hitler described the quiet years between 1926 and 1929 as one of the happiest times of his life. In the scenic mountains above the village of Berchtesgaden, in the German state of Bavaria, he found an ideal home. He spent his days gazing at inspiring, majestic mountain views and dreaming of future glory for himself and his German reach. In 1923, Hitler attempted overthrow of authorities in Munich and is jailed. But while in jail, he used his trial as a propaganda platform and gained support. After being released from prison, Hitler rebuilt his Nazi Party. After the death of the President Hindenburg in 1932, Hitler gained full power. Hitler convinced Parliament to pass the Enabling Act so that he can keep order. He gained complete control of Germany. In 1933, after the Nazis became the biggest party in Germany, Hitler is appointed Chancellor. After becoming Chancellor, he started the Holocaust. This was going to be the change in history. Our theory of why Hitler became the man he did was because of the hard years as a child with his father and his family. It was also those hard years in Vienna when Hitler was realized his true fate.